We are seduced by cracks, stains, and faded ink, as if they whisper truth into our ears. What we call authenticity is not a discovery, but an invention. A product designed to make the new feel ancient, the artificial feel real. The Renaissance didn't just create art, it aged it. Painters used patination techniques to make sculptures look like relics from antiquity. These were visual lies sold as proof of time and traditions. Roland Barthes said authenticity is bound to that has been, meaning the aura of an object only makes sense if it can point to a past. But what happens when algorithms simulate that past? We now have filters, textures, and software that age photos in seconds. Our digital culture has not merely copied history, it's rewritten memory on command.
MIDI Musi 1986 represents a pivotal moment in digital music history, where MIDI protocols began shaping modern composition.
Digital tools are not just correcting flaws, they're inventing them. Music software adds random timing shifts, velocity fluctuations, and breath like pauses to tracks that began in perfect digital silence. These variations aren't corrections, they're simulations of humanity, of the organic chaos we associate with real people performing. In doing so, these algorithms don't mask imperfection, they fabricate it. Early MIDI sequencing laid bare the cold precision of digital music. The solution: humanization plugins that added tiny imperfections to make it feel less like a machine and more like a living, breathing performer. It was an early prototype for today's deepfakes. Not of faces, but of feelings. A digital puppet given emotional nuance by algorithmic hands. Instagram filters don't just mimic film grain, they sell a whole mythology of analog decay. A single photo is drenched in simulated dust, scratches, and faded color gradients, each artifact calculated to suggest decades of history that never existed. These tools are not about preserving the past, but reimagining it as something we can consume without leaving our phones.
Anthropic is removing rate limits for Claude models. As well, they launched a new feature in their AI agents that allows them to dream, and Google is also making secret updates to their Gemini agents. So let's get into it. The enemy of my enemy is my, compute provider is probably what Dario was thinking when he signed a partnership with SpaceX. He signed a partnership with SpaceX, which is obviously Elon Musk's company, who is public #1 enemy of OpenAI. And together they're working toward.
We have a new human being, and that's Chris Potter of Memetics Corporation, a new synthesizer, the Yamaha DX100, and a new computer, the Commodore Amiga.
The moment AI began to imitate handwriting, it didn't just copy form, it weaponized sentimentality. Handwritten letters are not mere ink on paper, but time capsules of intimacy. When a machine forges them, it doesn't just fake history. It fakes feeling. This isn't just forgery. This is emotional engineering. AI handwriting generators now mirror the tremors and hesitations of human hands so perfectly that even archivists struggle to detect the difference. What we once trusted as evidence of lived experience, this is the uncanny valley of authenticity. Deepfake voices mimic tone, cadence, and even hesitation, not just as sound, but as trust signals. You can't tell if it's your friend on the phone or an algorithm in a data center. Voice has always carried weight authority, love, guilt, truth. Now we are drowning in synthetic versions of all three. The result is a cultural fog, where every familiar voice is suspect, and no sound is safe from simulation.
Motor car now bought by more people than any other. Weighing the value, they not only secure better performance, convenience, and luxury for themselves, but they also supply the incentive and resources to make possible even greater values for tomorrow. These motor cars furnish lifeblood to all American industry. The automobile consumes over 15% of all steel produced.
Nostalgia, once an emotional response to memory, is now a product line curated for mass consumption. If authenticity can be replicated in a factory setting, then trust itself becomes a commodity rather than a byproduct of time and experience. We no longer live in the world of real histories, but in one where every era is just a vintage filter or a retro font. The past is not something we remember. It's something we assemble. Bathers, punctum, the small, unlooked for detail that stabs through a photograph and pierces the viewer, gone. In a world of curated content, there is no raw truth, only calculated noise. Authenticity becomes an algorithm with sentiment analysis, producing emotional resonance by formula. Our memories are increasingly edited before we even live them.